let's jump in and talk about this. First and foremost, Hulu. We're going to start off with Hulu and FX and then go into the more heavy, Disney heavy type stuff. Or rather, Disney, you understand what I'm talking about, Disney branded type projects. There is a really interesting show coming to Hulu. It's a Hulu original based on an original idea starring Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez. It's called Only Murders in the Building. A lot of people think that this was an idea concocted from like Steve Martin and Martin Short. You know, they just came off of like a year-long tour where they did a live show. They kind of bounced around from city to city, and they eventually filmed this live show that they were doing and put it up on Netflix as a Netflix special. It's difficult to find projects that have both Martin Short and Steve Martin because their similarities in comedy are so paralleled with each other. They kind of came up in comedy around the same time, like and around each other. We've seen them in The Three Amigos, you know, with Chevy Chase, and we haven't really seen the two of them in a project together, let alone a television show. So to see them in a show like this, I think is genius. Now, this particular article is posted from Hulu's website, and this is the only synopsis that we have for the show. Only Murders in the Building. In 2021 comes Hulu's newest original series starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. The untitled comedy. What are you talking about, untitled? It's called Only Murders in the Building. Anyway, the untitled comedy surrounds these three strangers who share an obsession with true crime and suddenly find themselves wrapped up in one. When a murder occurs in their New York City apartment building, they are forced to work together to figure out what happened. I think that is a really interesting premise for a show. I love the concept. Obviously, I love the characters. And you know, like with Steve Martin and Martin Short, it's going to have a very lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek kind of feel to it. Josh, have you heard of Only Murders in the Building? Is this the first time you're hearing of it? How does this strike you? What are your initial knee-jerk reactions? Oh man, this could not be more perfect. You guys knowing knowing how much of a fan Josh is of both Steve Martin and Martin Short, the look on this frozen image of Josh is absolutely perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, we're gonna hang up on Josh, and Josh, I don't know if you can hear me. Call me back. Let's try to get Josh back on the line, because initially when I clicked over to this image to put Josh up on screen, my thought was he is so interested, he is so invested that this is the face that he's making. He's so interested. He he loves this so much. It's so funny to see, because I think honestly, again, knowing how big of a fan Josh is of both Steve Martin and Martin Short, hearing about a project like this, I think this still image, perfectly sums up exactly how Josh feels about it. Let's jump over. Let me jump back over to Skype, and let's see if we can get Josh back on the line. I don't know if it's Josh's Skype that's freezing or if it's my Skype that's freezing, but let's shut it down and we'll reboot it real quick. Guys, apologies. This is a live stream. What are you going to do here, right? All right. So, all right. Here, oh man, you guys, again, this is the joys of doing a live show. Sometimes things just don't turn out the way that you would like them to. Huge apologies. Bear with me. Here we go. Let's give Mr. Josh Hurley a call back, shall we? So it's ringing. We'll see if he picks up. Hello, Josh. Are you there? Can you hear me? As I touch my
Hey, how's
ear.
it going? Yes.
All right, there we go. Josh, that was. I don't know if you could see on your screen what we were seeing on our screens, but the frozen image of you. When I kicked it over to you and said like, what are your initial thoughts? And you're just frozen with this.
That's
I
yep.
so
I
interested.
actually I actually wasn't frozen. That was just my face. That was my reaction to a new Steve Martin short comedy that on Hulu that we get. So, I'm
It's a
very
pretty great
excited about that.
reaction. Pretty great reaction.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I could still hear you and stuff, but it just for some reason my on your end, I guess it froze, or at least you couldn't see me, but I could see you. So,
Hey,
but we're back.
technology.
Yay.
Yeah. So had you heard of this project before? What's your knee-jerk reactions here?
No, I'm so excited. I gotta hear about this for the first time on I Gotta Love Them Movies.
Yay, exclusive.
Yeah, for real. Like, that's so cool. I can't wait till we find out what the title is of this untitled movie
I
that,
know,
or
right?
untitled show. Um, I think it's fantastic. I think Steve Martin and Martin Short together is just perfect. And you're right, like Three Amigos, we saw those, and it's amazing that they haven't had a project like this together. Yeah, they did do that comedy special that they filmed. Um, I can't remember, An Evening to Forget, I believe it's called on
Something like
Netflix.
that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, after watching that, it's like, how are they not doing something together right now? So this is a perfect idea. I will say, I love the plot idea. I think it's great. I think it kind of makes me think of some of the older stuff, like big Diane Keaton fan, older Woody Allen movies of Manhattan Murder Mystery, where the two people were the two people in the building, and there's a murder going on, and they're trying to. I don't remember if it's actually in the building, but
Well, I mean, if
then
you
they're trying
look
to
at the
solve it.
font that they use, here, let's just look at the font again, real quick, that they use. It has, it kind of evokes a little bit of a Woody Allen feel to it.
Yeah,
Just like the, this promo photo that they have. In addition with the concept, just the general concept does kind of have a little bit of a Woody Allen feel to it. Now, I understand Woody Allen is a very polarizing name right now, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
no, go ahead.
I mean, oh, I said, yeah. Maybe I feel like they're probably. I would wonder if that's intentional because they're probably like, nope, no, thank you. Do not associate this with Woody Allen movies, which is fair and that makes sense. I just think it makes me happy to go. But I agree with you. It does have that look of like the Manhattan Murder Mystery. I remember the old
Mm.
video cassette box or something. It was like a blue title with yellow letters, and it was like Manhattan Murder Mystery, little stars and stuff.
Well,
So this
even
definitely
Curse of the
looks
Jade
like it.
Scorpion still kind of like this again, like has that
Yeah,
same
the
kind of a
font and everything.
font. Yeah, very
Yeah,
specific.
totally, totally.
Very
I agree,
specific.
and I think those two together is perfect, and I think it sounds like they found a really good vehicle for them. It sounds like a very sort of like neutral plot in terms of being like, all right, here's a very simple premise. Now we can. It's not overly complicated. It's not too heavy-handed. It's just like here it is, and of course, Martin Short and Steve Martin. You can already just see how this is going to work. Hopefully the writing is good, and hopefully it's as a TV show. Who knows how many episodes we're going to get? So that all may come into play. But I think having them together is like kind of a home run. Like I don't,
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if it's going to be a limited series or if it is going to have multiple seasons. I feel like this concept can't be drawn out that far. I see this as a limited series. Because again, like there's certain, unless they do something drastically different. Because again, when look at the show, the comedy series, Schitt's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
It has a very specific premise, but it's the characters that we get drawn into, and
Yes,
it's the characters that we look at and we say, "Oh, I love watching these characters," or rather, you love hate watching because they're kind of
right,
despicable at first. It's a reverse
right,
Beverly Hillbillies, right?
yeah,
So when you see that. You're drawn to the premise. And you're like, oh, this is kind of a funny premise, but it's the characters that drive it and make you want to stick around and watch more.
right,
And knowing, I mean, I hate to say it, but Steve Martin kind of plays the same character in every project that he does. It's a great character, and I think we all love Steve Martin in that regard, but he kind of plays one note over and over and over again. So I don't know if we're going to see that much of a progression of a character for him, as opposed to this just being a very, very situational thing. Do you see it in a different light?
No, I think that's a good point. Steve Martin is the kind of actor where you put Steve Martin in a situation and you watch what happens. Like, it's kind of same thing. Like, I feel like for me, there's a lot of actors. There are actors who are character actors, and there are actors who like turn into somebody else. And then there's an actor like Bill Murray, Steve Martin, who you're like, let's put Bill Murray here and let's see what happens.
Right.
Like Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters. You know, I mean, it's like he kind of plays that sort of sarcastic, sort of like biting character that we all love. Same as Steve Martin. So, yes, I think the thing about this is with Martin Short and Steve Martin's energies, them playing off each other, it's very much a buddy comedy. So we're going to get a yin and yang sort of energy from them, where I'm sure Steve Martin's going to be the sort of the straight, like, whoa, well, hold on a minute. Wait a second. And I can see Martin Short be like, oh, we got to go. You know, he's just Ed Grimley style, like running around, be like, oh, my gosh.
And then you throw Selena Gomez into the mix, too, because Selena Gomez has a very different energy from either one of those two guys.
Totally. And so it's going to be a really fun, I think it's going to be just a really fun project. Now, talking about like how many episodes, the premise sort of lends itself to the questions that need to be answered, right? Who done it? Who got murdered? Who done it? Do we figure it out, right? So, I mean, if they figure it out at the end of the season, then, you know, they better have set up, hopefully, you know, some sort of other sort of tent poles that sort of like support another season, because once you figure it out, right, the story's over. It's a very set it up, knock it down.
Did you ever
premise.
see the show The Following with Kevin Bacon a number of years ago?
I mean, I saw some of it. Right, that was the Kevin Williamson one, right? He wrote that. I believe he wrote that.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I mean, he wrote the.
If you haven't seen The Following, here's the basic concept. Kevin Bacon is a police officer, like a detective who has a drug addiction problem, right? And he comes to find out that his girlfriend is in a cult, or rather, she's being hunted by a cult. And this particular cult is just amassing his incredible following, called The Following, you know? And so this cult keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, Kevin Bacon is investigating the cult, but the cult is trying to get to him through his girlfriend, this whole thing, right? And season 1 culminates so perfectly that it wraps up the whole story. It wraps up the entire story. So when episode 1 of season 2 premieres, you say, like, no, I'm done. Like, I have invested everything that I want to invest, and I don't want to watch anymore. Same thing with Heroes, the TV show Heroes. Heroes so perfectly wrapped up everything in season 1. You know, save the cheerleader, save the world. Perfect premise. And they did that. They saved the cheerleader and saved the world. Spoilers, but it shows, like 10 years old or something? So who cares?
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they don't do that. If they are going to do a second season, don't wrap everything up. True Crime on HBO, they did the same thing. I get, like, season to season, it's a completely different story, but it doesn't... There's nothing there that makes you want to invest in a second season. So if they do continue on, I hope that it doesn't go in that direction.
Right. And I think the same thing with, like, I feel like there's that, I think someone who did it right probably would be David Lynch with Twin Peaks, right? With the whole Who Killed Laura Palmer, which was a huge mystery, and it sort of caught fire with everyone of like, who done it? This is a great who done it. But David Lynch, of course, took it beyond what that question asked, and asked a whole bunch of other questions, like, wait, what's going on? There's a whole network of, you know, whatever. And so and having not seen the entire series completely, forgive me, all of our David Lynch fans, but I think that it's brilliant of him to set it up with that kind of question, and then sort of like go, you know what, there's bigger questions that we need to answer here, and hope maybe that's what they'll do here. Maybe they'll kind of be like, yeah, that is crazy, but like, let's expand the world enough to go.
Speaking of bigger questions, the question is for you guys. What do you want to see in Only Murders in the Building? What do you think is going to occur? What kinds of crime? Obviously, probably like a true crime murder based on the premise, but What hijinks do you think will ensue? Do you think there will be a second season? How tongue-in-cheek do you think this is going to be? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Scrooge McDuck would want you to do. DuckTales, woo!